Welcome to Badass Lady Folk. I'm your host, Christine Stoddard. This episode, I'm overjoyed to welcome two guests, Adriana Ascencio and Courtney Autera, both actresses.
Ooh,
hey, girls.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for just going along with all this weirdness.
I'm here for it.
And seeing the Manhattan Neighborhood Network studios for the first time.
Yes, it's beautiful
It
in
is
here.
super nice.
Even the bathrooms are pretty.
Yeah, so this is a commercial for M&M.
Yeah.
Made they get more grant money. Okay, so why are you here? You're here because I want to know about your acting and your journey. I want to know about your upbringing and what led you to acting. Were you the quirky kid in school? Did you put on little plays or fake radio shows for your parents? Did you, I don't know, dress up as the turkey in the school play? Whatever. Whoever wants to go.
Oh man, this is like life story. Do you want to go ahead?
I'll go, I
You
guess.
got it.
So I've been on and off with acting actually throughout my entire life. I'm mainly a comedic actor. When I was a kid, I just noticed that like I would get attention if I said something absurd or out of pocket. And I think I just rolled with that. And I used to, write my own little plays and stuff. And then I started musical theater when I was a kid, but I didn't like the singing part and I wasn't good at it.
I feel that. I can relate to that.
Yeah, it's hard. So I quit because I didn't like the singing. But then I started taking acting classes again when I was 15, and I fell in love with it. It's like therapy, and yeah. Then I started stand-up 2 years ago, and now I kind of do both.
Yeah. So what about singing was so hard for you?
Well, I was bad at it, and like I'm not like if someone
Very honest.
Like off key, too soft, too loud, had no rhythm.
I think off key and too soft. Like I remember when I would audition for like roles, the piano guy would just like completely go over my voice and you could not hear me, and I was trying to like scream.
Oh
but,
gosh,
like,
that's so nerve-wracking.
yeah. But I mean, if someone's not a good singer but they love it, like I encourage them to keep like taking lessons. But I think I was just more
that's like
into
so
like
diplomatic.
no, but like because I don't want
it.
I don't
Follow your
suck. No, because I don't want people to get like I'm not trying to be negative. Like I quit because I like sucked. But I just was more into like the acting and the improv and stuff like that. So I kind of just stuck with that. And I guess like as a kid, I'm from Long Island. My parents are not in the arts, so like I guess when I said, oh, like I want to do acting, like musical theater was the thing that was available. So they're like, oh, let me sign Courtney up for this. So yeah.
Okay, you're out of the hot seat now. Adriana, your turn.
Well, I can definitely relate to the whole kind of just the journey of trying different things and seeing what you really truly enjoy. I did not try musical theater. I did not try acting at all growing up. I was super shy as a kid. I liked drawing and doing other things. I did like making like short videos in my house. I'm sure a lot of kids did that. I would do like fake interviews with my like my baby brother and be like, "How are you feeling?" Like I don't know. So that was the extent of it. I think I auditioned for the high school play of Alice in Wonderland, and I think I had a similar issue where I'm pretty sure they could not hear a word that I was saying.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, I was just like, maybe not. But, yeah, I don't know. I studied PR in college because, I've always been interested in film and media and entertainment. So I was just like, oh, this could be a path maybe. And then eventually I moved. Oh, I'm from Silver Spring, Maryland. Both of my parents are from El Salvador. Also, they don't have an arts background. So it was never really a thought to like actually pursue something creative like film or acting. It just seemed like very like a far-fetched idea, But yeah, so anyway, after college, I moved to New York, and obviously theater is like so huge here, so
Yeah.
it does get to you one way or another. I think I just signed up for like a random Groupon acting class. And I was just like, oh, it was scary, but I was just like, this is a lot of fun. And I just kept taking classes and improv too. It's kind of how I got into it at the Magnet Theater.
Yay, Magnet.
Yeah.
I will always shout out Magnet. I'm
Yeah.
doing musical improv there right now. But my boyfriend, Aaron Gold, has a show, You're Not Alone, and it's been running for 9 years. And it's about mental
wow.
health and comedy. They go together.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely do.
It makes sense. That's dope. Yeah, they had like Saturday drop-in classes,
Yeah.
so I did a couple of those. And yeah, even though it was scary, I felt like it was exciting and like different. It got me out of my head, which
Yeah.
I was really always in my head all the time. And then I think the pandemic happened, and that's when I was like, none of this corporate stuff really makes me happy, and it
Yeah.
doesn't fulfill me. So I started working at like a small nonprofit based in Bushwick, and I signed up for a conservatory, Stella Adler.
A very well-known one, too.
Yeah, I literally just Googled and was just like, fuck it, let's just try. So yeah, I did the 2-year evening conservatory, and that's where I learned basically like everything, like all the foundation of everything of acting through the perspective of Stella Adler, I guess.
I've heard, and I don't know this for a fact because I've just seen so many people from so many different acting schools, but I've heard that Stella Adler is very experimental and that people in the program are weird in a good way. Would you say that's
amazing.
true?
I would say actors in general are very weird.
Yeah, just artists.
You just got to
like-
be a little weird, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I met so many different kinds of people, and I'm like close friends now with a few of them. It was a mix of people who had been acting for a long time, so people who are new. There was like a lot of international students, so it really did expose me to all these different backgrounds. But yeah, and it was 2 years, just evening, so it was very busy, but I think it really helped me like find my vulnerability and help me learn how to be vulnerable in public spaces and like trusting my gut and again getting away from like overthinking and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I think
now
a
we're
lot
here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people worry that once they take an office job that they'll never be able to do something creative and that there won't be time for it. But thank goodness there are evening programs
Yes.
and weekend programs and things that are not necessarily 9 to 5. So
True.
good
Very
for
true.
you. Courtney is still in school.
I am. So I'm a senior in college. I go to, thank you. I go to a place called Five Towns. It's a very small performing arts school on Long Island. I literally love it. It's like, do you guys know that TV show Victorious?
Yes.
No. Tell me, what is it?
So it's just a show about these weird kids that go to like a performing arts school. And that's
Okay.
what my school is. Like everyone's creative there. No one's normal.
Fun.
Yesterday in class, I'm not even making this up. Like my teacher had the window open to get fresh air in, and a kid crawled through the window from outside into the classroom. Then when he got in, he asked if it was okay that he did that. And my teacher was like, yeah, sure.
Wait, was he in your class?
No.
What? Just like a kid on campus.
He came from like the woods.
Oh.
He just wanted to sit in on that class.
Yeah.
No, he like went through the class, I guess, to get to the hallway, but he just like saw the
it was a
open
shortcut.
window
And
and
a
he
shortcut.
like came
Yeah,
through.
I see. Sometimes doors are just so complicated. You just
Yeah.
gotta take the window.
That's like a daily occurrence.
It's just like another Tuesday.
Just kids coming
another
through
Tuesday.
windows.
That's fun.
Yeah, last week we had a kid show up in the dining hall just wearing a bathrobe. His hair was all wet, no shoes.
Wow. Maybe he was like method acting or something.
Yeah, that sounds very
He was an
method.
actor.
Yeah, there you
But-
go.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe at my school.
Wow.
Wet hair, climb through windows. Got it. No shoes.
Yeah, no shoes. Dogs out.
Okay, so fun question. What do your parents think of what you're doing? Haha.
That's a very interesting question. So actually, at first, my parents were so skeptical because, like we were talking about before, like my parents, like no involvement in the arts. My dad's a
Yeah.
high school principal. My mom is a nurse. So they really kind of knew nothing about it. But they somehow let me go to drama school. I guess because I was just very persistent, and I ended up getting lucky because I got scholarships to go there, and they were like, okay, yeah, sure. But now they're very supportive. They've changed. I don't know why, but
Well,
yeah.
4 years in.
Yeah, 4
Right,
years
you're
in, I
really
guess
doing
they
it.
realize that it is possible. Even if I'm not like just a working actor when I graduate, I can have a job in the art field, and I think they're recognizing that there are a lot of options.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same with my parents. It's like, it just doesn't seem really like tangible to them.
Yeah.
I think for me, I was in Christine's play, Mi Abuela, Queen of Nightmares.
Woo!
And that was actually the first play that my parents saw me in my whole life. So that
I didn't
was
realize
Yeah.
that. Oh my goodness. I'm
Yes.
so honored.
Yeah.
That's a good first one, though.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, glad it didn't suck.
Yeah, and I was so. Well, let me back up. I was taking the classes at Stella Adler, and it was like hybrid. So sometimes I would be on Zooms, and I'd be like, I can't go to dinner right now. I'm in class. And I think my mom was like, okay. And like, they didn't really take it seriously. Like, they didn't really, I also guess didn't explain to them that it was a full conservatory and like, it's like a whole program.
This is really school,
Yeah,
Mom.
this is actually happening. So yeah, it felt like I think, for a while, maybe it was just like a hobby, all that stuff. But yeah, and I think I started just talking more and more about it, and I think they can see that it excites me. I still do think, I'm sure my mom would love it if I just like dropped it and just like climbed the ladder, as they say, and just stick to something, because I have like job hopped a lot, but that's how it is now.
Yeah. Well, it's a common pressure.
Exactly,
Right? It's a
yeah.
common expectation, and parents want us to be safe and provided for, and blah,
I know.
blah, blah, blah.
It's really the circle of just stress, because I'm like, I
Yeah.
definitely want to provide for them one day, but
Yes.
at the same time, I don't think I could sacrifice my happiness
Yeah.
for a job. And like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Getting deep.
Therapy. No, I mean, I see it as things will all work out.
Yeah, exactly.
I try not to make rash decisions. I have to pay rent. I have to pay for food. I have to pay for my basics and have my emergency funds. But yeah, you can't just live to make other people happy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as long as they know that I like have I have jobs and I'm stable as a person. And then I think I was so like paranoid or overthinking about them coming to see the play, because I was like, oh my God, they're going to see it. They're going to ask me a ton of questions. It's going to be like, and then they saw it and they're like, oh my God, it was so good. Like, it was so fun. Like, they loved it, and they didn't interrogate me at all. So yeah.
For playing a cactus,
I know.
a jaguar, an ancestor.
Yes. Yeah.
Many roles.
I came out of the theater and my dad was literally like, he did like the jaguar movement to me. So yeah, safe
Those
to
are the
say.
coolest
like
parts, though. Those are
Yeah.
my favorites. And the way like the actors move in those parts too is so interesting.
Yeah, it was my first like movement like bass piece, which I feel like really came at a good time, because I felt like I was just not really in my body around that time. So it was a really good experience for that, and it just all the more amazing that it was about a family from El Salvador. So thank you again.
Yeah, and thank you.
Yeah.
And shout out to your listeners, to Fiamma Piacentini, who was our director at the Tank.
We
and
stan.
she was the movement director and also played Abuela when we did the show at the Jean Franco Theater.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love her.
Yeah, she's great. And she was on this show. She was on Badass Lady Folk with Melanie Gaudreau, who is in... she's everything. She's a director, playwright, and actor. I guess those are the three things I'll call her, but she does other things too. But they were on my first episode that I filmed here, because before I came to MNN, it was just radio only and podcast only on on Radio Free Brooklyn and all the podcast places. I chose Fiamma and I chose Melanie because, they're mentors of mine in a way, and I knew they would be kind to me on the show, and they wouldn't be upset if we took forever adjusting the lighting and the mics and all that. There's been experimentation, trying to get things to look and
It
sound
was,
how I want
yeah.
them. You
I
know?
feel like you guys made the process so smooth as it could be. Because I've done like work
Yeah.
that's been developmental and like with people who are not super experienced, and like it's kind of like I'm someone who's like, I'll try anything. Let's just like do these
Yeah,
warm-ups.
yeah.
And so like but it's nice when like you feel like you're being guided and like you feel like you're comfortable with the people that you're with.
Yeah.
So it felt like pretty good. I'm sure there was
Yeah,
a lot of
very
chaos
organized.
happening, but yeah. Yeah, I was very organized,
Yeah.
I feel, and was
Oh,
just
with
like
the play,
on top
yeah,
of
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to get to vulnerability as being younger women who are in this field, and how is it that you choose who you're going to work with? And have you had, I mean, God forbid, I don't want you to get into anything like terrible and traumatic, but if you want to share any negative experiences you've had in that regard, I'm here for it. And I know listeners are too. Listeners, viewers. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's a heavy one. So, I take most of the opportunities I'm given, which is good, but also I have a hard time saying no to people, which is something I will talk about with the therapist I have a meeting with in 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to kill myself or anything, but like, I actually don't say no to people and I'm too nice.
I feel that.
But yeah,
That'll change.
Yeah, I hope so.
Give it a few years.
But yeah, I definitely have had good experiences most of the time, but obviously, especially in like comedy, like there are those jackasses.
Yeah. Yeah. And doing stand up and being, I'm sure, often the only woman
Yeah.
and certainly one of the younger ones. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll say weird stuff to you sometimes. Like one time there was this old guy who was producing a show and he asked for a picture for the flyer, and I just sent a headshot, just me smiling, and he goes, "Oh, could you just send a picture that's not so pretty?" I was like,
what?
Okay.
Ew.
Yeah,
Ew.
people are just weird.
Ugh.
But it's mostly, fortunately for me, it's only been like verbal stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I feel lucky because I haven't experienced anything super awful. But
Yeah.
Yeah. I think same here. I also struggle with like people pleasing.
Yeah, oh my God,
Like
yeah,
like
it's so
growing up, I
bad.
think I just like the whole like good behavior equals reward. Like that just like got embedded in my
Yes. brain,
brain, which I think like also impacted my acting because it was like, oh, I need to like please this person. It's like, no, just be yourself and like
Yeah,
do whatever
yeah.
goes with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I also had that same issue. I don't think I've luckily have not had any super bad experiences. I've only been acting for like 2-ish years.
Yeah.
3,
Oh,
2 or
wow.
3. Yeah, I guess I don't know when officially it started, but yeah. So still got a ways to go, but I'm really lucky. I've worked with a lot of people from marginalized communities. I've done like a lot of like my first short film was with this Columbia student who's like the story was about like this person finding their identity as a queer person and like navigating that, and then like yeah, I just like doing work that has to do with like different topics like that, like whether it's like identity or like their culture and I don't know, social issues, like those kinds of
Yeah.
things. Yeah, but I don't think, at least at the top of my head, I think I've also been like pretty lucky.
Happy to hear it.
Yeah.
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 So how do you... No, I'm going to rephrase that because you both just talked about people pleasing. Okay, one. So what kind of projects do you like to work on, or would you like to work on?
I like working on a variety of different ones, but obviously my favorite is comedy. SNL is my dream job.
Yes.
And I love anything sketch, anything comedic, anything with stand-up. I also like original works. Like, that's why I really enjoyed watching your shows. And, yeah,
Thank you.
definitely just, like, experimental projects and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I want to do more kind of like dark comedy stuff because that's like
Ooh.
just my vibe in general. Like I love a lot of dark comedy shows. So if I could be in it on a show like, for example, like my favorite show is like Rami on Hulu. It's so good. Everyone should watch. Also, I don't know if you've seen Barry on HBO.
I knew you were going to say that
Yes,
one. I got to watch
that-
it.
Oh my God, you should. Yeah, it's great, especially from someone who's like coming from SNL as a comedian and like, Yeah, it's like a level of funny, but also like, oh shit, this is like dark. So more things like that. Yeah, I think, and then also like, again, dream job. I mean, not dream job. One of my dream roles is to be like some sort of spy or like a detective or like a mystery. I love a good mystery. So I don't know. Yeah,
I can see you
that.
in like that role.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. I like I don't make my own projects yet, but I like casting, and I feel like I could look at a person and like kind of know where I'd put them, and I'm like, oh, you could play a spy.
Love that. I'd be very clumsy and whatever, but I'll solve the case eventually.
Are there, so often on the show we talk about social issues, and I'm curious if there are social issues that appeal to you, if there are any goals that you have for acting in terms of activism in some way.
Ooh. Well, one for me is obviously comedy is a male-dominated field, so I feel like
Gotta change that.
I love encouraging more women to get involved, because I feel like there is a hesitancy because it is intimidating, like when you're the only girl at an open mic or something. But I just love, inspiring other women with my work. And actually, like, at school right now, me and my friend Sabrina, we're starting a sketch team. And, we're the president and vice president, so it's really cool to have
That's fun.
2 women leading it, because we have a lot of girls involved, and I love seeing that.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like people really underestimate, like, how well women can, like, tell stories and be comedians.
Yeah.
And then, like, when they find out they're, like, super successful, they're like, oh, like,
Yeah, I feel like a lot of girls are just, they're afraid to, because it's scary to start when, like, you're surrounded by all these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of them aren't scary. Surprise. Yeah.
It's just all a front, honestly. I think for me, there's this article that just came out like 2 days ago that I read, and I was like, oh, I'll talk about this. But apparently it was on Deadline, and basically they're saying that Latin representation in Hollywood, I think specifically films, has really not changed in the past decade, which is wild. I think TV has done it better, but like, yeah, in movies it's still pretty much like 50. It was like, I don't know, a large percentage are still like portrayed as criminals or like over-sexualized or low income. It's just like nothing's really changing, especially behind the camera too. There's not a lot of like casting directors or directors that are like Latin, so therefore not a lot of like Latin actors get lead roles, which is a big issue. So I definitely want to help change that, especially as someone whose family is from El Salvador, and that isn't really, at least for me, I've literally like almost never seen it in movies. Maybe someone as the maid, literally like as the maid is what I've seen, or maybe the criminal. I don't know, but like, so yeah, I think that's sort of a goal of mine, to just make that more visible, and like also like showing the range that you don't just have to portray this one thing. Like there's so many different things you could do. Yeah. So
yeah, for sure.
My goal.
I love both of these goals. I'm behind both of these goals.
Yay.
And I wish you the best. I know good things will happen for you, so I don't even have to wish. Okay, now I'm going to pivot to Shakespeare.
Whoa.
Out of nowhere.
The bard.
Okay, so I am not a Shakespeare super fan. All right. I had to study Shakespeare in school, right?
That makes me feel way better. I was like, I'm not ready.
You're like, oh no.
I thought you were going to be super fan.
Test us.
No, but it's something Aaron, my boyfriend, and I have talked a lot about, just how there's this cult of Shakespeare among actors, and it can be so frustrating. It's like, have y'all not read any other plays?
Yeah.
What? So I just want to hear about any Shakespeare experiences you've had, if there's a play that you hate, or actually if there's one you don't mind so much. Shut up, Christine, right? Like anything Shakespeare. Go.
Oh, wow. So I think he's great, but definitely overrated. Like,
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like, I feel like actors who know Shakespeare act like they just know everything, and it literally is like a cult. And I'm like, okay, like, cool, like, but you're right, like, read other plays too. I have to say I do like this one, As You Like It, because there's like a part where these women like dress up as guys, and I got to do a monologue from that, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And I like Romeo and Juliet. I know that's basic, but I don't like Macbeth. I read that in high school, and it was so boring. So I'm so sorry about that one.
Some people don't like it because it's too dark. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, it is very dark. I also don't like it for that reason. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm a person where like I don't like when too many people die. Like
Shakespeare's just full of death.
No more than 3 people
that's
can
why
die.
It's not my favorite, because I like when people are just happy in the end. It's
Silly
like a
goofy.
tragedy, but then everything works out.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I read Midsummer Night's Dream in middle school or high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I read it and I just like could not really absorb it. But I feel like Stella Adler did help me kind of break it down and put it in like, you know, put it in like a real life situation or whatever. And I was just like, oh, it was literally like, teach me like I'm 5. Like, and that's how it kind of helped me. But yeah, it's not like my go-to, and I'm definitely not an expert at it. But I would say the one that I have encountered the most where I kind of like the story is, I think, 12th Night, which I think also involves...
that's also girls dressing
yeah.
up as guys. Yeah.
I don't know, just something about that is just exciting and funny. And like,
Yeah.
you know?
Cross-dressing is so fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
That and maybe, there's another one, but I can't remember the name. I did like, I think it was Ask You Like It. I can't remember. But, yeah, I'd say 12th
so
Night.
many.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, with Shakespeare, it does sometimes feel this sort of, like, elitist sort of thing, too.
Yeah, that is a great word to describe it.
That whole scene can be very pretentious. I do like A Midsummer Night's Dream, more watching it than reading it, right?
Yeah.
It is funny. It's just silly, over the top, and that's good. And I like the story of Hamlet more so for what it's inspired than Hamlet itself.
Yeah, definitely. I think also it stems from like, from a young age. I mean, maybe unless you went to like a very, I don't know, I guess in dramas, like if you're a theater kid, like as a kid, then you get really familiar with Shakespeare and you'd probably love it. But like if you don't really dive deep into it growing up or don't have it relate to a real life situation, it's just like, I don't care. So I think that's a thing that needs to maybe
It has
change.
to be taught the right way.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it'll just like you'll zone out or it'll go over your head. But I don't know. Some people like really I have friends who like love it and like are experts at it, and I admire them for that.
And yeah, same.
Yeah.
When you read a script, what attracts you? Like, what just makes you go, oh, I want to do something with this?
For me, it's the characters. I think it's a common thing with actors too. If the characters are interesting, even if the story is not incredible, I think I just love like, you know, a good character arc. And
True.
also I like silly shit, so anything funny, any funny characters.
True.
And jokes too. I'm very like, because I'm a stand-up comic, I look for the jokes in the scripts and like I'll like obsess over them. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I really appreciate just good writing in general.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually so hard to find.
No,
like, in auditions, you're just like, I don't know if I'm into the character, but I feel like, I don't know, I would do it differently or just, But, like, good writing. I would also say, like, something like a twist that comes to it with comedy. I feel like if I can relate to something that has to do with the character that's very specific, then I'm like, oh, that's me. Like, I could see myself definitely. Like, it's just, like, I get sucked into it that way. Yeah.
Ooh, also, like, unique stories. Like, I hate the cliches and when people just stereotype everything and don't really think outside the box. So
Right,
anything,
yeah.
like, unique really grabs my attention.
Agree.
What makes a script sexist?
Ooh, there could be a ton of things. Oh, God, that's a hard one, Christine. It's
Because sometimes it's obvious.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes it's not.
this is a more subtle way, but sometimes, and I see this a lot with comedy, like when it's written from a male perspective, they'll write female characters that only serve a function and don't actually have a like character arc, which is not super sexist. It's just kind of not, they're not keeping woman in mind when they write it.
Yeah.
And it's super annoying to get like auditions for those when you're just like, the love interest with no personality.
Yeah, it's very one-dimensional. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. Like, you're just here for the love. You're just the lover. Like, that's it.
No, literally, that's I
Yeah.
think that could be sexist when there's just like, you know, the woman is like the object of attraction.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And then, yeah, like, sometimes it's just more blatant where I've read scripts and I was just like, I would see like an action or just something that doesn't even make sense. It's just like they just threw it in there, and I'm just like, I don't know if I would feel comfortable doing that.
She just has to take her top off.
I know.
I was
No
saying that. Like nudity without a purpose.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Just cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah, or it'd be
Without
like,
a shirt
and then
on.
it's like they're talking about groceries, and then she straddles him, and I'm like, what? Like that?
No, literally.
Why? Yeah, and that stuff just like turns me off. I'm just like, I don't know if I could do
Yeah.
it. It sucks because like you want to do like as many acting gigs as you can for the experience and all that, but it's just like stuff like that. It's just like I don't
Yeah.
even know if I would feel comfortable or
That
just,
stuff
like,
I
portray
actually
it well.
I can say no
Yeah.
in like that matter.
Yeah.
Oh, when it comes to people pleasing, you're not a people pleaser that
Yeah,
way.
for sexist scripts,
line.
I'm done with them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I hate auditioning for stuff like that.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't like it.
Yeah, I do. I am kind of like, I don't want to say jealous, but like I do admire people who are really good at being like romantic and like flirty and stuff like that. Because I feel like I kind of like gotta amp myself up to be flirt or portray like someone who's really flirty. So that's like practice, but yeah, there's just different ways of approaching it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, yeah, any kind of intimacy on screen, even if it's not all the way right, is tough. Because in
Yeah.
real life, it can be tough, too.
Yeah,
literally.
yeah, it's awkward sometimes. Like,
Yeah. And if you're not on a set or on a stage where you feel like there's trust
Yeah.
and respect, then it makes it way harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're really lucky. We're in a time now that like people have been exposed,
there's
like
some-
should have hit the fan. Like there's a lot more work on that now.
Yeah, a lot
than
more
before.
restrictions on that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
What makes a script racist?
Ooh.
What's some of the stuff that you've seen?
So, from a white person's perspective, I can't really say much because I haven't experienced that. But basically, I think it's similar to what I said about the sexism. It's like if a person of color is portrayed as, like, just maybe a stereotype. Like, for instance, like you were saying, sometimes Spanish people are just like the criminals or like the cleaning lady, stuff like that. Or you see it with like Asian people a lot. They're portrayed as like just the nail lady
Yeah.
or something like that. I just think it's rude to always give them those roles instead of just a character, you know, with an arc and something that maybe doesn't have to do with like their race all the time. It's, yeah, just the stereotypes.
yeah, no, 100% agree with that. It is similar to like the sexism, where it's like it can be
Yeah.
really blatant. And it's just like doesn't really serve a purpose.
Yeah.
It's interesting, I think, with like characters who speak Spanish, because I feel like there's a time where like I just feel like sometimes writers, or I don't know who's writing it, but they'll just throw in Spanish for no reason. And it'll be like a weird form of Spanglish that doesn't really work. Yeah. But I mean, that's just like my annoyance. Yeah, I don't know. It's usually I haven't really experienced too much of it, luckily.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
definitely the subtler form is when a person of color is just serving a white character's
Yeah.
interest, right? Like whatever
Yeah.
their goal is. And I will say on the note of some of the stereotypical professions, I think that those roles can still be portrayed, but just in a way that gives somebody dignity, right?
Yeah.
And dimension,
Yeah.
because like my uncle's a gardener, you know, nothing's
Yeah.
going to change the fact that he's a gardener. I don't think there's anything wrong with him being a gardener. But if I were to write a role about a gardener, I would want that character to have dimensions.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
not just be working at some white person's home and saying, you know, I don't even know. Just yeah, not really having his own dreams, his
Yeah.
own motives in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Those were not meant to trip you up. I was just curious.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah, like no sweat. So our viewers might not necessarily know what a casting breakdown looks like, what any of these notices look like. So could you just describe how these things are written, where you find them, and any pet peeves you have about them?
Well, going off of the sexism thing, it just reminded me that I've seen so many breakdowns where I'm like, where they're like, she's slim, beautiful, like sexy. I'm just like, I'm like, am I beautiful enough? I don't know. Like, what's there? Like that shit's so annoying. Yeah. But like in terms of the description, character breakdown is I guess the sort of quick summary of a character's personality and like just like I think tiny tidbits of who they are.
Or like you said, it can just focus on appearance. And
yeah, it can just focus on appearance.
Female roles
yeah.
or people of color. It's like it needs to look like this, needs to look like that. Okay, but what is this character's personality?
Exactly.
What's this character going for in this story?
Yeah, I really like when I guess, and these breakdowns are found on different casting websites.
And they're not sponsoring the show.
They're not sponsoring the show. But yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I like when people put a little more context into the breakdown so I can like better understand who the character is instead of just having 3 words or just like, but I guess when there's less description, it's kind of up to the actor to get creative and like make up the background of that. Yeah. It's like my long-winded answer.
No, that was fine. That was great.
I like when there's a lot of information, like you said, like on the breakdowns, like more about the story. And then I also like seeing more than like just who's directing it. If they have the producer, it's nice to see their name.
Oh, yeah.
And, the pay rate and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, not because like I like money, but like I want to know like all the details. Like when is this going to be shot and all that.
Yeah.
And yeah, another pet peeve, just the sexism thing with the women. There are some, like, people, and it's not as common anymore, but there's some who are still obsessed with, like, women being, like, the stereotypical tall, skinny, blonde.
Yeah, it's still out
person.
there.
It's still out there.
Literally just saw it yesterday.
It's still, I see it.
Yeah.
And, I remember a few months ago I saw a breakdown and it said it was a casting for a gymnast, and I used to do gymnastics, so I was like, oh, this would be great. But then it said must be 5'7" or taller, and I was like, where are you gonna find a gymnast?
I was gonna say,
over 5'7", but they're obsessed with like people
short.
being like tall and skinny and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's a pet peeve, but yeah, the more information I think on the breakdown, the better. Yeah.
How do you feel when a breakdown has like a photo of like their reference?
Oh, it depends on the photo.
Sometimes they're like, this is which is like helpful, but I'm like, do you sometimes feel like, oh, I don't look anything like that, so I'm not going to apply, or do you just like go for it anyway?
I think I'd go for it anyway, but yeah, those always trip me up. Because sometimes people put very stereotypical characters there, and I'm like, okay, I don't really know what you're going for, but sometimes they're helpful. Like, and sometimes for true crime shows and stuff like that, where you're playing real people, they'll have an image of the real person, and it's
that
like
makes sense.
That's
to me,
helpful.
But for fictional characters, I don't know about that.
For fictional ones, it's kind of strange. I don't know. Like I'm a sketch writer, and sometimes when I write sketches, I have an idea of the physical description of the person, but when I have actors read the parts, like I'm not married to that, and it's weird for fiction. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fine to want a certain look sometimes, but some people will fall into the habit of, okay, I only want the women I cast to look like this, and they have to look like this every single time. The men and again, it's just all these stereotypes or unrealistic expectations over and over again, and no variety.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about collaboration, how you work with other women and men who don't suck, and non-binary and trans people. Yeah. How do you choose who you collaborate with?
Probably just based off of if we get along and have similar goals, And I love collaborating, and I feel like it's a thing more artists need to do in general. Because sometimes, and I get it, like, we compete for roles and all that, but a lot of people see other artists as, like, competition, but I'm like, why don't we just work together and build up from there? So, yeah, I love it. Like I said before, me and my friend are starting a sketch team together because we had a similar goal, and, you know, I get along with her. And I love it. And I love making friends who have similar interests. It's kind of relieving to be around people in this field.
Yeah, it is really inspiring to just be around creative people a lot.
Yeah.
And like, that's so awesome that you're starting a sketch group. I definitely want to like read some of your stuff or watch your stand up.
Yeah, we're
sure.
gonna film it. It's
Send
at
the
it's at
links.
college, but I'm gonna have it filmed.
Nice. Send me the link. Yeah, I think same here. I feel like I just really love open-minded people, people who are not, I guess, like people who are, I don't know, not ignorant, or if they are, they're willing to like learn more and just like open up. Communication is always really helpful. I think, just as long as they're not like narrow-minded and stuck on one thing, and they're like flexible, and obviously like respectful to like people of different groups and stuff like that. I mean it's always easier to work with like women and like people who are Latin, like also have like similar background, or I think that just makes it kind of smoother because you sometimes just have a mutual understanding of something.
You don't have to explain things as much.
Yeah, exactly. But like other than that, if someone's just willing to learn, or just like willing to like hear out new ideas, or hear out like my ideas, I think that like makes it so much better. Yeah.
Have you had experiences where you started collaborating with someone and then realized that it wasn't working?
Ooh.
Just had a weird deja vu moment. That was weird.
You don't have to name names.
No, I was just
That's
like,
a
I feel like
tough
I've been
one.
here before. That was weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
Where I
know
had
either.
to stop.
I'm sure there is one, but I can't think of a big one off the top of my head.
Maybe it was like early in the process where I was just like where I auditioned and there was like maybe a callback, and then like as I learned more I was just like, I don't know if this is for me.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, something like that. But I don't think, luckily, it hasn't gotten that bad where I had to like cut it
hasn't
off.
gone that far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good. I wasn't trying to get you to gossip.
No,
I just thought it could be helpful.
Here's one example,
Spill
I guess.
the tea.
So sometimes, it's not really that bad, but sometimes on comedian podcasts, they'll have other comics come on and do material. But I kind of like stopped doing that because I don't like spoiling my material.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's nothing like bad, but I just kind of don't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah, but that's still relevant, I think.
Yeah.
So have you gotten invitations to do podcasts like that where you've said, hey, I'll do this, but I'm not going to share material? Or do you just say, no, I'm not going to do this, thank you?
The last time I just think I said I'm not available. I don't think I was, but
It's a good white lie.
Yeah, right.
for the next time I'm going to be honest, because it's happened a few times, and
Oh,
I'm
really?
like, I just don't want to do it anymore because I
Yeah.
want my material to be for the stage. If I'm doing a podcast, I want it to be, like an interview like this,
Yeah.
or talking about, some people have themed podcasts, so doing something like that. I just don't want to work for free.
Yeah. And it feels forced too when you gotta like.
Yeah, when you're like
Have
just
it-
sitting
yeah.
there saying it.
Yeah, that's fair. That
Yeah,
makes
you don't
sense.
have a live audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get that immediate feedback. God. Yeah, I'm trying to imagine what that's like.
Yeah, I have so much respect for stand-up comedians.
Thank
like,
you.
good for you. I'm manifesting like so much success because you really like just gotta put yourself out there, and like you're like, people are gonna love it or they're gonna hate it kind of thing. Or just like
Yeah.
but I don't know your comedian, like your style, but like if you talk more about like personal experiences, or you just like, some people just like vent and that's their
Yeah.
comedy.
Mine's like absurd. Just
Absurd?
things
Oh, I
you
love
wouldn't
that.
expect to come out of my mouth.
Oh my God, I love that.
But yeah, something I've learned from stand-up actually is that, no matter how good you are, no matter how hard you work, there are always going to be some people who just don't love your style, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's with any art. It's like some
Yeah.
people are going to
Can't
love
please
it.
everyone.
Some people just, it's not for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
yeah.
I wanted to talk about courage. So how do you
Ooh.
find courage to do what you do?
I think it just comes down to loving it.
Yeah.
Like with stand up,
true.
like people always ask me, you know, how do you get up there? I'm just like, I'm having a good time. I think just the passion for it motivates you, even if you're scared.
Yeah, I think finding courage. I think a lot of times when I'm feeling kind of like doubtful on myself or like not really sure if I'm doing something, I'll try to just like look at the growth that I've had. And it's just like, hey, you didn't think you're going to make it there, but you did it. And then you didn't think you're going to do that, but then you did that. And I was just like, oh, I have a tendency to surprise myself. So like, let me just like build up the courage. Let's just be a little delusional.
Yeah.
And like, that's a goal of mine right now is to be more delusional.
It helps.
You dream,
yeah,
right?
exactly,
To
yeah.
let yourself dream.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it's so easy to just get caught up in, oh, well, this is what's realistic. This is what everyone else is doing. This is what other
Yeah.
people I went to high school with are doing.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't know. I'm so glad I had the courage to do it because now I'm having more fun than ever. Like my schedule is just packed, but I'm like, it's all fun. I'm doing what I love,
Yeah.
so it's so worth it.
I did. As soon as I mentioned high school, do you keep in touch with people from high school? Courtney, I mean, you're young enough that might make sense.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. I would say a small group of people, like my close friends. I definitely keep in touch with them, but you know,
Do they
Not-
come to your comedy shows?
they do actually. A lot of them
Aw.
go away to school, so on break they come to the shows.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I have a very supportive group of people, and I'm very thankful for that.
Cute.
Yeah. I feel like during college is like harder to like, everyone's just like in different worlds, especially if you go to
Yeah.
different schools. So you just try to find time. From high school, I really just have like a couple friends. Actually, like my two literally closest friends who now live in New York and now we live
Oh.
together. One of them I known since we were in 5th grade.
Adorable.
The other one I met in 7th grade. And yeah, so they're like my closest friends, and also like super grateful because like that doesn't happen often.
Yeah,
Like whenever I tell
yeah.
people like, oh yeah, I've known them for like over 10 years or something, they're
Wow.
just like, oh my God, that's so beautiful.
Are they in the arts too?
I feel like it's funny because they're professionally, one of them's a lawyer and the other one works for the government. But
Oh wow.
yeah, exactly. They're like,
Real
They're
jobs.
super smart. But I love that. I also feel like New York really just changed, helps people find their more creative selves.
Yeah.
Because I think they were doing like different things, but now I just love seeing them. Like one of them is like pursuing like DJing now because she loves
Oh.
music.
Oh my god.
And then the other one is like a fitness coach, and she's into pottery and like all these things. And like, yeah, they're also super supportive about what I do, and they've gone to like all my plays and stuff. So
Aw.
yeah.
It's wonderful to have people in your life who see you go through changes and you get to see them do that
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So beautiful.
too. It is
No, it
beautiful.
really is.
But also, I've never been to a high school reunion. My
Oh.
sister actually went to, she and I are just a year apart. So she went to one where I knew almost everyone she knew because our classes were so close to each other. And she was like, yeah, I went. Everyone's like fat and married now. I'm like, oh my God. That's not the energy I want. Like, I don't need a whole night of just looking around and feeling like, oh, I'm better than all of you. Like, no, if we don't have a real relationship, then I just
That's fair.
distance.
I think my high school reunion was last year, actually, and I didn't go. I think I had a work event, but at the same time, I was just like, I don't care about those people enough.
Was it a work event or is that a
No,
white
it was
lie?
actually, I actually did have a work event,
Okay,
but I
okay.
also was like not really trying to go. And but a part of me was kind of trying to go because I'm like, look at me now, guys. Like you guys
in
were
New
like,
York, I'm
you
acting.
thought I was weird, you thought I was this and that, but look at me now. Like I don't know. It's like a slightly petty like side of me that wants to do that, but it's fine.
When did they start having those? Because you guys are so young. I wouldn't expect you to have.
Courtney, we're not answering those questions.
I mean, I don't mind.
I
think
guess
it's
some
fine.
schools do different ones.
Mine was, so I graduated 2012 from high school. I
Okay.
am 29, I will say. Enjoying the last year of my 20s.
Oh, so it's like a 10-year thing then. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, most
Okay.
schools
Yeah.
do 10 years.
I don't even
Yeah.
know if mine does it. I mean, I guess I'll go.
I didn't even
'cause,
know
like,
about it until like a random. I think my friend. I don't even think I got invited. I think my friend got invited, or like someone random DM'd me. I don't know. It was very out of the blue. Like I don't know, but maybe there's like a
wow.
group chat somewhere.
I'd go there for material.
Some schools
That would be good. That would be good for material. Actually,
Anything's material.
yeah. There's some people where I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to see them again.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
I'm not gonna like.
Yeah.
Go. It was also like I'm in New York and it was in Maryland, so I'm like I don't
Yeah.
really want to go out of my way. But
I
yeah,
figure
it
if
depends.
we don't already text, if
Mm.
I'm not already seeing you at Christmas or whenever it is I go home, then why? I don't know.
Yeah, no,
That
I
is
respect that.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to
But
say the
material.
Yeah, I know. The
sure
only
you get
reason I
good
go
stuff.
is probably like material, and also I guess there are some people who I wasn't like close with, but I still kind of hung out with in school, and it'd be nice to like see them.
You're so sweet.
Maybe
Yeah. There was a
Or
time.
teachers, maybe.
Oh yeah. Oh
Do
yeah.
they go
Oh,
or
teachers.
like?
Some of mine are dead.
Ah!
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
god!
fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sure some of mine
I'm
are
not
too.
laughing like because they died. Like,
I mean,
Was it teachers that you were close to?
well,
Like-
one I loved. It was my Spanish
Aw.
teacher. She
Aw.
was wonderful. She died while I was in college. But there was one who had an affair. Yeah, there was
Oh.
another one who made a porn video that like
Wait,
all
what?
the yeah,
Wait,
yeah, yeah.
that happened
was-
to
there
my
was
school
drama.
too in middle
Yeah, yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah.
They found out like one of the teachers. I'm not. Yeah, but like, yeah, it's like it's crazy how when
We're
you're I
whispering,
know.
but we're recording.
I know, but this
God.
is like here on the internet. But like, yeah, it's so crazy.
None of that happened.
That's crazy. My school was boring. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's why I love my college, because my high school was just, it was so small. Nothing really ever
It was
happened.
public or private?
It was public.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was like,
It was
just
okay.
shit happens
nothing-
in public school.
It was just non-eventful.
Maybe go back and I don't know. I feel like there's so much stuff that you didn't really like see or like
Oh, yeah,
know about,
yeah.
especially
As a
with
kid.
teachers. Yeah, especially as with, like a
Yeah.
kid, you don't notice, but then later on you're like, oh my god, so and so, like, I don't know. But that's nice. I mean, I guess that's a peaceful experience. Ugh, what an interesting life that was.
Yeah.
I do,
Totally different
you know,
person.
I'll look people up on social media once in a while if I don't know what's going on. And yeah, when I'm feeling nosy or gossipy, sure. When I'm feeling petty, sure.
Yeah.
On that note, how do you handle social media as actors?
Good
Ooh.
transition.
Yeah, see, I was bringing
I
that
thought you were saying, how are
around.
you petty? And I was like, oh god.
So I'm not that great at like social media. Like I know like a lot of people use it to market themselves. I try my best, but I'm not a person who can post every day. But I try and, you know, stay updated. And as for like handling it and stuff, I mean, there have been times when like, you know, I posted stand up like, and there was a time where I had stand up on this Instagram account, like a bigger account, and I got the like, oh, like women can't tell jokes comment.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, whatever. It's like, come on.
Ugh.
Like, get creative with it at
Literally,
least.
yeah. It's like couldn't come up with
But-
anything better
Yeah.
to do or say.
Did you delete that account? What happened? You said
No,
it
it
was an
wasn't
old
my
account.
account. It was
Oh,
like,
oh.
it was this account called Stand Up Journal, and they just post videos of comedians. So I was on the
okay.
account, and then I got good comments, but then I got like like woman.
Like
But-
go to the kitchen or whatever. Like
Yeah.
But I'm petty, so I made a fake account, and I just commented back to these
Yes!
people.
Good for you.
I love it.
Shout out to Freddie Jones. It's my spam. That's my troll account.
Freddie
Freddie Jones. It's good. It's not generic.
I hope they don't watch this.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's fair. Social media. Yeah, social media's. Yeah, again, as actors, I feel like I always wonder like if I would be the type to like not read up on myself. Like that's very like daunting to just like. And I feel like you could very easily get sucked into that. We're wanting to read every
Yeah.
detail and like try to not let it affect you, but it might
Yeah.
affect you. But yeah, there's just ones that you know like they don't matter, and also they don't know you. Like you're
exactly.
literally like who are you? You don't. Yeah. I think I studied public relations and like communication, so like I could be very on top of it if I wanted to. Like I know like the whole build your brand and like do this and that, like when's the best time to post, etc., all that. But I think with my personal Social media, I'm pretty like, I also don't post every day just because I don't feel like it.
Like stories.
Oh, stories. Yeah, stories.
The discreet
easy.
way.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
promote.
Yeah, I just put random things on stories, and then I think most of my photos are either like, I don't know, it's like photos of myself or like if I travel and like see something nice or I don't know, things like that. I have posted like monologues before. I think
From self-tapes or...
I can't remember if it was self-tapes, but I definitely did. I remember the first monologue I posted was just a monologue I found, and I was just like, I need to, like, get it out there.
Yeah.
And, like, part of me still kind of going back and forth between, like, should I post more monologues or should I just, like, not? Because they say, like, it's good to just post your work and have it there, which makes sense. But I think... Yeah, I should have hopped on like the YouTube train when it was like 2008.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say
would've been
a while
by
ago.
Now it's like TikTok and all this stuff, which is like really cool. But I'm just like, oh shit, that's like so much work.
Yeah.
But
YouTube, I feel like TikTok can't beat YouTube. I miss when YouTube was big.
yeah.
What do you like about TikTok, or what do you like about YouTube better?
I just feel like, I don't know, the content, like, the quality was better. I don't know.
yeah.
Or it just makes me nostalgic, I guess, because I watched a lot of YouTube as a kid.
Same.
I just
feel
like
like-
long form stuff better.
Yeah, I think that's what it
Yeah.
is. Now it's just so quick.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's designed so you can't get off of it, and you just keep scrolling, and
Yeah.
I'm so guilty of
For
it.
the same trending audio.
Yeah, literally.
That's actually crazy. Now that I think about it, I'm like, how many hours would I spend watching YouTube versus like now on TikTok or
Yeah.
Instagram Reels because I'm old. But yeah, I don't remember. I mean, in my head, I don't remember feeling as like sucked into it. Whereas now I'm like literally in bed for like a good 2 hours before I actually go to
Yeah.
sleep.
I think one of the main differences is we didn't watch YouTube on our phone all the time.
it was like on our
it was more of a
laptop, computer.
laptop situation.
Yeah.
TikTok is more of a phone situation,
That's
and we
so
have our
true.
phones everywhere. But 10 years ago, you couldn't just easily have all, like, so much wouldn't load on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just text.
I feel like the YouTube videos you watch as a kid, I was talking about this the other day with some friends, the YouTube videos you watch as a kid really influence who you are as a person today.
Oh my god.
I just watched the weirdest stuff. Like, there was this guy who used to dress up as a girl named Rolanda and make music videos, so I watched him a lot. And then I watched this lady, Glozell, who would, like, do
Glozell!
Glozell!
Yes!
Cinnamon
She was hilarious.
She's so
I hope she's
funny.
doing well.
jelly. Me too. I want to see if she still makes content.
Oh my god,
Like,
probably.
She was amazing.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Going down the nostalgic road. Yesterday, I think, or the night before, my friend brought up Harry Potter puppet pals.
Yes!
Really?
Oh my god!
Literally, that was locked in a vault in my brain for
Wow.
so long. I didn't think about that for years, and I was
think
like,
you read
whoa.
my mind.
Yeah.
That was such a good one.
Yeah, that was like deep in there. So.
And then
Such a great
Vine.
time. Vine.
I was
Yeah, I
obsessed
liked
with
Vine. I
Vine.
think I've made a couple.
I never
don't
really
know.
got
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
I
And
just-
it wasn't around that long either.
It
No,
wasn't.
I saw a whole documentary about its downfall. It was very, very interesting to watch.
It was. I loved it though. I think
Yeah.
I could still quote all the classics.
Yeah, yeah, there's some good ones.
I used to play Vine Jeopardy with my friends,
What?
and we would like have Jeopardy, but you had to like finish the Vine. But then my
Whoa.
cats peed all over it, so it got destroyed.
Oh my god.
Well, on that note, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you.
Dear listeners, and I'm saying that because you might be listening on Radio Free Brooklyn or podcasting platforms, or dear viewers, if you're watching on MNN or YouTube or TikTok or wherever the hell this is. I'm Christine Stoddard. This has been Badass Lady Folk. Tune in next time.